said this was gonna be fun. I like modern Sonic levels more. Yeah! Yeah! Love the boost.
You're breaking all that glass.
Yeah! I want the whole game to be just this. Just that. No slowing down ever. Oh, I hate this. Why?
Since Sonic Generations was released a little over a month ago, I have seen so many people making their own little LPs and walkthroughs and commentaries and reviews on it. Everyone wants a piece of the action. Everyone wants to give their take on it. And you know what? That's great. This game may be a pivotal turning point for Sonic's future, and it's good to express that. But I swear, out of all the Let's Plays I've seen, blind or not, VGA's has to be the absolute worst. Seriously, Fraser fails so badly it's shameful. It's like, you know how whenever someone at E3 or some other convention plays a demo of a game that'll be released in a few months, and someone right behind them is recording footage of it, and the person playing does a really sucky job, and you get a lot of comments like, "Doesn't anyone there have any skills? Why can't they find someone good to play this game? It's so painful to watch." Well, you could roll all the collected suckdom of all these people together and condense it into a little ball, and even then, all their accumulated fail would be nothing compared to how badly Fraser performed. The whole thing is just him almost constantly failing and blaming his shortcomings on the game. It's just like when you let a 2-year-old play a game and he keeps dying, but he doesn't want the grown-ups to think he's stupid, so he just goes, "This game is dumb." That's exactly what Fraser was doing. Now, there are a few things to take into account that are pretty important. As unbelievably bad as these guys are, that's kind of their gimmick. They aren't really big gamers. The whole point of video games awesome is to show what playing a brand new game is like from a casual gamer's perspective, as casually as possible. That's why these guys often don't play games beforehand or do any research to know what the game is really about most of the time. They're supposed to be fresh, spontaneous, unscripted, all that good jazz people love for some weird reason that I just can't figure out. But even then, it doesn't take long for them to get the hang of how this game or that game plays, and they improve as players naturally do, and they eventually beat it. I'm actually a pretty big fan of these guys, and I've watched many of their playthroughs, even the really old ones. It's not like I'm saying it's okay for them to criticize any game as long as it isn't a Sonic game because I'm a huge Sonic fag or whatever, but really, compared to most of their other LPs, this is the most unenjoyable ever. Mainly because Fraser never got the hang of how you're supposed to play games like this. These guys really have no business playing this game. They don't know the first thing or pretty much anything about Sonic. They got to Sky Sanctuary. Didn't have a clue where they were. They got to City Escape. Still no idea where they were. These are places most gamers have at least heard of at some point. Even if you're not a Sonic fan to any extent, chances are you know which places I'm talking about because they're so iconic and famous in the world of gaming. But even that can be brushed aside, considering they had no idea who Metal Sonic was. Holy crap! How can they not know who Metal Sonic is? You know who he is, right? I bet there isn't a single person watching this video who hasn't seen or at least heard of Metal Sonic. How is it all three of these stooges have miraculously managed to dodge anything and everything connected to Metal Sonic throughout their entire lives? You're telling me they've never ever happened to see him in any comic books, as a guest in some other game, in the cartoon movie, as an action figure, as a t-shirt, or any other form of merchandise? Nothing? Right from his mouth, you hear Fraser say he has never played anything Sonic related outside the original Green Hill Zone. Wow. No wonder they have no clue what Sonic is really about. They know absolutely nothing about his history, and this is a game made for those who have a history with Sonic. Let's talk about gameplay. Look, Fraser, I know what you're going through. I've been through it. Most of us went through this phase back in 2008. We all loved the overhyped daytime stages, for a little while, and some of us still do. We succumb to the simple-minded thrill of just boosting over, past, and through everything, falling for this illusion of what we thought was thrilling. But when that's all you're doing, it can hardly be called gameplay, and it gets pretty tiresome after a while. And guys like me have completely outgrown it, but it seems you've been so out of touch with these games for as long as one possibly can be, and you need to be educated. Sonic is a platformer. Granted, it's a very fast-paced style of platforming that kind of is Sonic's gimmick. His ability to reach such spectacular speeds is what sets him apart from other platformers, like Mario and the rest, but he's still a platformer at the core. Sure, in Green Hill you can just whiz by to the end, but after that, the game becomes much more complex and challenging. Now, the later levels did get kind of slow, but in Sonic 2 and 3K, they found a great balance of platforming that's fast-paced, but not so fast that it's downright stupid. So, sorry if you're disappointed, but what you're looking for is a racing game, which Sonic just isn't, like it or not. See, there's a reason these so-called amazing early stages and generations, which you were just so easily amused by as kind of pathetic, are designed the way they are. It's so that they're easy, and the later levels, which force you to interact with the game more, are naturally more challenging, because you have to invest more of yourself into them. Sorry to say, it does take a certain amount of patience and experience to effectively play a game like this, and by that I don't mean the patience to keep playing after dying again and again and again by trial and error, or the patience to memorize the entire level's layout before pressing on. You can beat this on your first try. You just need to pace yourself. That might sound kind of redundant in the case of what a lot of people falsely perceive a Sonic game to be. But if you're crafty and careful and pay attention to what's going on around you, the game really isn't that hard. Plus, you know, it does kind of help if you've actually had experience playing other Sonic games, so that you know what you're getting into and what to expect, which of course you haven't and don't. You can't just boost to win and be done that easily. I mean, if you hadn't kept trying to blast your way to the end and just bypass all the platforming and whatnot, it wouldn't have taken you a tenth as long to beat some of these stages. But it's like you weren't even trying. You just kept complaining every time you had to slow down even a little bit and go through the trouble of having to press more than one button to beat the game. This is so stupid, I hate this, no, I don't like this, man, I hate platforming, this is so lame. These are things he actually said, and he kept trying to somehow make up for it by joking about yiffing with tails and whatnot, which just makes him look like even more of a tool. Most of the places where he slipped up are designed just fine. He just lacks the skill that this game demanded of him. Look guys, when I make fun of people who are so enamored with a daytime stage aesthetic, I'm really not talking about people like Baconstein who have simply convinced themselves that it's somehow innovative to give Sonic 2 default running speeds. I'm talking about this guy, and others like him. This is why I say such mechanics are stupid. They're made for people who think Sonic is just some sort of stress ball, and a means by which they can take a break from playing games in which they have to actually do things and, you know, play. They don't want a fulfilling, challenging, rewarding experience. They just want to boost to the finish line and be done with it. They just want to enjoy the shallow thrill of simply watching Sonic run without having to put any effort into actually trying to beat the game. If video games are an escape from reality, I guess Sonic is an escape from other video games. And that's such a shame because these games can be so much more than that. Generations is so much more than that. I mean, look at some of the guys here on YouTube who can see just how brilliant this game is. Clement, FDA and Entom64, Johnny of the Super Gaming Brothers and the Brain Scratch crew, Bellina Productions. They may not be that big on ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com, and I don't know how big they are on Screw Attack. But they're pretty freaking big here on YouTube, and they can all play this game just fine. Maybe it's because they actually have some grasp of what Sonic games are typically like. So those thinking, well, I'm sure Fraser just made honest mistakes that anybody can make, I think Ben disagrees with you. Hey Fraser, if some guy came at me from behind with a really sharp knife and was gonna jab me in the back, what do you think would happen if I don't move out of the way? I'll get frickin' hurt! Maybe even killed! You weren't hitting Metal Sonic, he was hitting you! Anybody could see this, even a child. If a Goomba charged at you from behind in a Mario game, or a Metal in a Mega Man game, are they somehow supposed to hurt themselves from colliding with your back while you take no damage? You know, there's this really neat little trick you can do to save yourself. You can, I don't know, jump! Damn you! Holy shit! Jump! This is as basic as a game can get. I'm baffled that someone could even be capable of making such a mistake as this, let alone several times, and never learning. You weren't hitting him, Frage. He was hitting you. And when you finally did beat that boss, it may as well have been an accident. And your commenters weren't being assholes, they were trying to help you, because you were failing so horribly. The worst part is, he clearly finds the classic stages much, much less enjoyable than the modern stages, which even then, he only liked the first few of. Since the classic stages level designs are made to emulate the classic games themselves, you can't really say these are badly constructed without going full retard and saying the classics suck too. Which wouldn't surprise me if Frage found out what the classics were actually like, especially Sonic 1. I mean, seriously, anyone else who plays a game like this and fails so badly, anyone else would not have the courage and audacity to upload such footage, because they'd be ashamed from all the other gamers ridiculing and poning them for their disgracing a game so. What a spectacle this is. I will give Fraser credit, though. When he was running down the side of that building, he did do a great job avoiding those oncoming pillars. You're supposed to simply quick-step to dodge them, but I hate mechanics like that because they feel so stiff and, well, mechanical. But he moved left and right the good old-fashioned way, on his own, and most people, including myself, despite everything I've ever said, wouldn't even think to bother trying such a feat. Good job, Fraser. You had a stroke of brilliance, which lasted a few seconds. Can you imagine how the rest of this LP will go? I don't know how the fights with Shadow and Silver will turn out, but the earlier fight with Metal can't be a good sign. Perfect Chaos should give Fraser a pretty hard time. And holy crap, when they get to Modern Seaside Hill, best level in the whole game by the way, he's gonna get lost! All those cool, expensive alternate paths we've had so much fun exploring. He'll be going this way and that way, and he won't be able to escape the level for like 3 parts. He'll probably complain that it's too big and there isn't enough boosting. In Crisis City, he'll constantly be falling into lava or bottomless pits. He may enjoy some bits of Spagonia, but not much. And Planet Wisp, oh my gosh! This game is gonna eat this guy alive. And the side quests, I beat that stupid balloon mission on my first try, without falling down even once! You know what? I think he should let Becky take the wheel from here on out. At least for the short while that she played, you can see she was being careful and smart. Aside from when she tried to destroy that one-egg robot by walking into him. Oh well, I'm sure she'll learn from her mistakes, unlike Fraser. I don't expect him to be great at the game, especially considering his lack of experience with such games, but he is so bad, it's downright absurd. This attitude he has throughout the whole thing, rejoicing at being able to cruise on through, doing little else, as if this were an uninspired series of minigames, and despairing over the platforming and beautifully intricate level designs like it's such a pain to have to do anything in this game, is all so destructive and encourages Sonic Team to dumb these games down and undo all the progress between them and fans alike that has been made these last couple of years. Damn. Anyway guys, I'll review Generations pretty soon, and after that I'll talk about Sonic 4 Episode 2 and Sonic Dimensions in due time. But I've been rambling long enough, so for now, toodles.
The Tails one!
Alright, we'll play with Tails right after this. And by play with Tails, I mean